Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are going to be talking about following your bliss with Rosaria Langley and myself, Jacqueline Baz. So Rosaria is in the lovely UK. I'm in Canada, and both of us, I would say, I'm going to say that's the motto in life: follow your bliss, right?
Yeah, I mean, Joseph Campbell said it.
Yeah.
And I think he summed it up perfectly. And when you're following your bliss, that for me is happiness. Yeah.
When did you first step out to follow your bliss?
It must have been around about 2000, 2002. Mm-hmm. I started doing a screenwriting course. It was funny because I signed up for this course. I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. And I passed up a place to continue studying law because I had a place to finish my articles. And I just thought, it just depresses me. I just didn't want to do it. So I signed up for this course, and that's when I started as my MA studying Joseph Campbell and Mad Max and Aboriginal stories and so on. Mm-hmm. I started from my bliss, and they said they wouldn't give me a student loan because I'd been ill for 5 years, so I was too high risk. Oh. But by sheer law of attraction, I was able to get full funding because I was classed as professional, because my screen agency, I'd just been trained by the local radio station. The course was 1 day a week. Mm-hmm. And so they had funding for professional development. And so I got it all paid for. 2 years of my MA. And it was brilliant. So, that was the start of it. Mm-hmm. And it just snowballed from there. And when I discovered Abraham Hicks, they're quoting Joseph Campbell all the time. Right. And I hadn't really put it into words, the follow your bliss. I hadn't really picked up on that until I started doing the Abraham Hicks, following Abraham Hicks's videos and work. And it just really rang a bell. And I just thought, yes, this sounds great. And I even did things like I had a job at a screen agency. Mm-hmm. And I booked to do a Creating Sacred Space clutter clearing course in London the weekend before I was due to start work. And I was suddenly drawn to do the extra add-on days of the course. Mm-hmm. So I postponed starting my new job for 2 days. And I was thinking, why am I doing this? This is a space clearing, clutter clearing course. And on the very last day, they said, right, now we're going to look at film, because this is how we see how film works. When you look at the energy of film and the vibration of film and how people respond to it. And I thought, this is why I had to stay, because it was so directly relevant to my job. And it was looking at how people who are in a low vibration tend to focus on things like horror and zombie films.
Yes.
And and they worked up, and then you move up to soaps, but they're still fairly low vibration because they keep you in that loop.
There's momentary happiness, but no.
Yeah, so that you go in, and then they take you down, and then you bring you back up, and you may be back where you were when you started, but they don't actually they don't raise your vibration. And I did the screenwriting training I did was actually to work for writing in television. Okay. And I just realized that as I was writing, it made me feel awful. And when I went to Germany, I lost 9 scripts. I'd written 9 scripts in 2 years.
Okay.
And my computer crashed. Some of them were short ones, and a couple of them were long. But it crashed, and I lost them all but one. And I thought, oh, thank goodness for that. Because people were good.
Well,
crime things, yeah, sort of, crime thrillers, things like that. And I thought, I want to write something that's more inspirational.
yeah. I think that's a very good point here for people that are watching when we talk about following your bliss. So you were led, as you said, like in the early 2000s to start to do writing, right? So yeah. And how it worked out so beautiful, as you call the law of attraction, or just now I think sometimes it's surrendering to what's inside, that it just all happened, right? Yeah. But yet, in the process of going for your bliss, you started to, it wasn't like everything was all perfect all of a sudden.
No.
Right? It's like you open the door, you go through the door that says, I want to follow my bliss, and it's a journey.
Yeah.
And then you discover these things about movies. And I can just say about soaps, right? British soaps are different than American soaps. But I grew up watching my mother. She watched like the whole afternoon. She did all the ironing and everything and whatever. And there are certain things that I remember seeing as a kid on those soaps, but that stayed with me, like that like when I was little. Yes. But my life, if I had to look like it afterwards, was like a soap. Things would go well, like in relationships, right? It'd be like, yes. And I think it was all that pre-programming. So thank heavens your computer crashed and you lost those scripts on crime.
Yeah. And I was very good at it. And I was getting a lot of interest. I'd won a couple of awards, and then and in fact I had an agent wanting to, because I got an Arts Council award for a crime thriller, and I could see how it could develop as a series. Mm-hmm. So could this agent, and I just thought, oh my God, no. I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to follow that route. And so I've been working in other ways. And it was funny because yesterday when I went to a meeting, and it was called Creating Online. And it wasn't quite what I expected, because it turned out to be mainly about marketing.
Right.
Market yourself online. But effectively, the guy was essentially saying, follow your bliss. He said, he said, there's lots of people putting things out there, do this, do that. He said, that's no good. You have to do what feels right for you. And one thing that I feel I would like to do is, he's talking about putting up your process online, especially if you're a filmmaker. He said, when you release your film, people like to know the story behind it. And I think that's so true. So I like doing the research. The research I do in my books, I think, might be interesting to some people, but more importantly, it's interesting to me. Yeah. So I'd like to, because I'm well, I could call it Zen. Because I've moved around a lot, I've gone more minimalist. And so I don't really have a lot of paperwork or books. Mm-hmm. I only really keep what I essentially need to have. And I tend to circulate books. So if I'm reading, I'll move them on. And so this feels like a good way to actually archive things that are of interest to me. And we had a work session in this meeting yesterday. And I could feel my energy go. The room was very stuffy. It was very stuffy and heated, and the energy was like. And I was with two guys, and one of them is a very established artist from the 70s. He's done some amazing work, but he tends to work with material that's very historic. But he said he's also worked with what he's working with now is very. He said, a lot of the disasters that have happened, I've actually foretold them. And I was like, and I could feel this. there wasn't a space for me to talk about law of attraction. I thought, I don't need to convince him. And the other guy was talking, and he was writing stuff about suicidal stuff. And I thought, this isn't what I want. And luckily, I stopped talking because I thought, I didn't have anything I wanted to say to them. And I thought, I need the loo. So I just went to the loo. And by the time I got back, we were that was over, and we were into the next session. And I thought, well, that was good. It showed me what I don't want. Mm-hmm. So what do I want? Yeah. I thought, I want to work with people who are working in abundance, where the cash flow is fluid. I want to work with people who are doing positive, creative ideas. And I thought, good, it showed me what I want to do. And blow me. A filmmaker friend who was at the same session came up and said to me, are you going to this evening session, which is, was on my route home? And I said, I hadn't heard about it. I said, what is it? He said, it's virtual reality. He said, VR and AR. And I said, what's AR? Because I knew VR's virtual reality. He said, it's augmented reality. And I thought, wow, that sounds great. This is what I'm into. You're creating reality. And I said, I don't know. I said, I'd call in and have a look. And I went in, and it was in this beautiful space, really beautiful. And I'd been wanting something to eat because I'd been out all day, and because of the sessions, all I'd had was a toffee. And I thought, I really fancy some crisps. Bag of crisps, glass of water, glass of wine. Right. Not great. And then we're on the balcony overlooking the river.
Oh, beautiful.
Easily get fresh air.
Yeah.
And then we started talking, and I thought, oh, this is fantastic. The hosts were actually a company who design VR setups for the automotive industry. Mm-hmm. So they're doing cars, and I thought, this sounds good. And so I was able to go and experience a £3 million car and customize it for myself.
Awesome.
So it's great, and I've tried this before, the VR setup. Mm-hmm. And I said, but can you test drive it? And they said, no, the dealerships don't want people to be able to drive the car in case they have a bad experience.
Right.
And I thought, how strange. Isn't it funny? It means they're not in control, because if they do a test drive, mm-hmm. Well, it's not like they don't normally have dual controls, but they do a test drive, but they still feel they're in control. But with a VR, they don't feel they're in control.
Right.
So it was great, and so I got to talk to people who are doing games designs, and I discovered there's funding in my region mm-hmm. for creative teams, and one of the speakers asked me to send one of my book ideas for my dragon book.
Oh, great!
So I just thought, how does it get even better than this? From the afternoon session to the evening session, I'd found somebody who wants to work with me. There's funding available. He said, oh, there's good money available for creatives. And I said, do you have any writers? And he said, I'm the only one with any writing experience. The others all do code. Because I said, do you want script writers? Do you want code? And he said, and the way they were talking, they don't really have storytellers. Right. There was, in a room of 60 people, there were maybe 6 women. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was pleased one of the speakers was a woman.
Right.
But when the men were talking, they're all about, oh yeah, I want to blow things up. And they're all talking battle, 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 battle. And I'm just thinking, oh, this would be so cool to do my Azra and the Warriors thing.
Yeah.
And so he was he was getting very excited about it, especially when I said this book's set in Scotland. He said, oh, we can get a drone and we can do this. So.
Oh yeah, and it that part of technology is just the awesome part, right? When you think about what you can do in terms of creative, and I do feel that it's like, as you described in the beginning, it's a lower, denser energy, and we're just naturally as a planet moving through that as we like to think we're moving through time. But that's really the essence of life, is being in this high vibrational. And as we open to it, everybody else will open and follow what you're doing, and creating these great, inspirational, creative, positive, high vibrational forces of still entertainment, right? Still of awe and fun and great messages. And it's all because you're following your bliss, which is really, I feel, the great gift and contribution you're giving to us.
Yeah, that's one of the things that it's taken me time to get over, is the ego trip of thinking you're not good enough, because it means to suppress your talents and your gifts. Mm-hmm. And I didn't start writing. I started writing in '97.
Okay.
Since I left school, so I was like, what, in my 50s? Mm-hmm. I can't remember how old I am now.
Because you're just hard.
Yeah. And what was interesting was the guy who sort of emceed the event last night in the evening, the first question he threw out to the audience was, and do we think we are living in a created reality? Are we living in a virtual augmented reality now? And I just thought, yes, have these conversations. And because he was talking about how technology and how things have just moved so fast in the last few years, it's like the momentum's gained and accelerated. And I just thought, yeah, these sound like fun guys to work with to develop things.
Well, that's like, I love to use the example of what people see, because what you're noticing is a reflection of you. And although people, like when I say, they go, oh, the world is transforming, the world is going in a higher vibration, I'm like, you see that because you're opening up. The world is the world, and the unified field is the unified field, and the presence is always there, and that sense of being is present in a child. Like I was saying to someone the other day, I go, you do not see a 3-year-old getting up and going, okay, hold on, before I do anything, I've got to do my mantras, I've got to start doing my yoga, right? Yeah. I have to do my downward dog, my upward dog, presence, be grateful, do my little self-check. Okay, I'm ready. I can come out and play now. Yeah. But yet, we as these beings in our augmented reality tend to say, okay, so in order to have some sort of control still, this is how we're going to control it, by saying these are the things I need to do in order to become present, so I can find the opening, so then I can be like you're being right now, following your bliss.
And that's very interesting, because that was one of the reasons that I left the spiritual community in Germany, because I felt, I think we talked about this before, there's a series of paintings called the Ox Stories. It's a Buddhist series. Mm-hmm. And it's about the route to the journey of enlightenment. And some of the series stop at the point where the traveler is enlightened. But the final one, they return to the marketplace, because they then engage in life in a different way. And I thought, yeah, it's all very well living in a beautiful surroundings, but we're only meeting people who are wanting to sit and meditate and essentially do very similar things. And while I enjoy that, I wanted to explore more, have more adventure.
We have here on the island, in 2008, I guess, there was a Buddhist Master Zenru, who was feeling she had to leave Taiwan. And anyway, she searched around the world, and she felt it was Prince Edward Island that needed to be the new home. So I've had the great pleasure of being able to be connected, and I'll be going next week for the Mid-Autumn Festival, right? The Moon Festival.
Yes.
to the monastery there. And when I was like so excited, we have all these people that are all same spiritual monks and nuns, and we're just going to be able to forge this wonderful path. But I realized, again, it's the same, just like you said about being in Germany. There is a set of principles, and everybody's at a different place. And when you're in that place, you're in that place, and it's perfect for you being in that place.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like opening as a child. Right? That's, to me, the world is about play and about experience. And that's what I've taught my kids is, just you follow your bliss, find out what makes you happy, enjoy the journey. Everything is all taken care of. That's the door we walk through. That's the door we believe. So everything does, but until you or I or anyone else experiences it, for some reason we disbelieve it.
Yes. Yes. And for me, it's like a couple of people have been asking me to do certain jobs, and it hasn't felt right, and I haven't done them yet. I need to have a conversation with them, but I because I'm following my bliss. It's like on Saturday I was doing this training to identify sea life. So we were scrambling around the rocks on the coast. And collecting sort of crabs and whelks and sea creatures, seaweed. I went there mainly to find out more about seaweed, but then I was fascinated. So it was just so incredible. You're like kids on the rocks, really excited. And so the idea is we're going to the people from all over the country, and there's 7 centres, and you record at your own leisure and your own pleasure. You basically follow your bliss, when and how you want to. They have a system of recording. As long as you stay within that, you just do as little or as much as you want. And so they get an idea of the picture around the coastline, because they said that is changing. And we're looking at whether it's people's perceptions or if there are actual changes in the lot. Apparently there's some creature come over from Japan, and it's now spreading up the coast of Britain because it seems to like the climate here, and there's no predators.
What do you mean about creature? We're not talking Loch Ness Monster here. We're talking like an insect or a fish.
It's a sea animal, a small one. I mean, we're looking at them. I thought sea anemones were plants. That was how ignorant I was, and then until I saw a video of how they actually eat animals. They eat fish. They digest fish, the whole thing. And some of them are just like the size of my little finger, the tip of my finger. This is I don't know. We just saw the map. She didn't show us the creature, but I think it was quite small. Okay. But they're wondering if it's climate change or if there's no predators, because it's been unknown until now.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cool. That's very cool work.
Yeah, it's doing things like this. Whereas if I'd been in the old way of working, I'd have been that I need to do X, Y, Z on the weekend. Yeah. I'm working, and like last night, I just said, yes, I'm going to this second event, and it meant after 11, but that was okay, because that was the event that really inspired me.
So in this process of following your bliss, right, you've been led down this, sort of spiritual awakening in that idea, but really you've just been given yourself freedom.
Yes.
So you're more joyful and you're happier and you have the freedom and you're loving your life.
And I also started doing this when I had a job, a family, and a house to run. So it isn't that, and it's just evolved more and more. Right. And so I worked it was a brilliant job. I loved it. It was working for one of our film screen agencies. And I had a hot desk at work, but I arranged my own work schedule. And because I was covering 5 counties,
Mm-hmm.
I could choose to work in the county or at home. And I would do that because this is when I actively started following my bliss, though I didn't call it that at the time.
Right.
But I just think, I get up and I thought, actually, I just feel I want to sit and meditate today. Because at that point, I did feel I really needed meditation.
Right, yeah.
And that was it. And I thought, but I have a meeting at 10 and so on. So I'd ring up and then I'd find, oh, the meeting's being postponed. Okay, is it okay if I work at home today? Yeah, great. And so instead of an hour's traveling time, I could have that time as my meditation. And sometimes it's being bold enough to try it out.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people put their hands up and say, oh, I can't do that because I have X, Y, Z. And I'll say, just try it. Just see what happens. And that's the way to explore it.
Well, see, I just would, I agree that you've got to experience something. But right there, when you're sharing about meditation and exploring it, I also think of you and your shower song.
Yeah.
And it feels so fun, right? And I just think that is an easier one for people to do.
Oh, I don't mean the meditation. Sorry, no, I didn't mean explore following your bliss, whatever form it takes. If you say, oh, I have to be at work for 9 o'clock or something.
Right, okay.
Or X, Y, Z, and I'll say, just experiment, experiment with it. And you see, it's like today, because last night I was debating, I was actually in that session when I found out it was mainly cars.
Right.
I said to the guy who worked for the company, I said, I don't know if this is going to be right for me. And I said, and I'm doing a show tomorrow and I was going to write something new. And the old me would have come back to work on something. And I just thought, just trust it. And this morning, in the shower, I've got another song. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, experiment with what your bliss is, because it's different for everyone. And going to work can be your bliss. That's it. When you're into something, that can be following your bliss. Doing the accounts, doing your tax return can be following your bliss. It isn't all necessarily being out on the beach all the time. It can give you such a feeling of satisfaction and joy to create a spreadsheet.
Yes. Everybody's different of what makes them blissful.
Different. Yes.
And that's the idea. It might not be song and dance. It might be, digging in the dirt, as you said, doing a spreadsheet. It can be anything, whatever it is your bliss.
I was an archaeologist for 20 years. And I mean, I used to clean dirt. That was for a living. I used to clean dirt on the ground, which sounds totally mad. And I loved it. Yeah. And then there was a point where I just thought, I've had enough of this. Move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your new...
Oh, my new song. Well, I was out the shower and I was drying myself with my towel. I've got swivel in. I need the tune again. Got swivel hips and high heels. I've got swivel hips and high heels. My body likes to dance and I like how it feels. I've got swivel hips and high heels. I've got swivel hips and high heels. Swivel hips and high heels. My body likes to dance and I know how it feels. I've got swivel hips and high heels. I've got swivel hips and high heels. Swivel hips and high heels. My body likes to dance and I like how it feels.
It's got that like, I don't know if it's there's that, I don't know what song, 50, 60 something in there that makes me do the, but yeah, I do. I think shower songs is a whole new thing happening here, because everybody pretty much everybody takes a shower. Has that few minutes, and if you can get rewired to feel good that you're singing songs and words that inspire you and brighten you versus singing, "It's been a hard day's night."
And that's it. It's like singing the blues. I mean, I realised this when I was driving. I'd taken my daughter to Oxford, and I was driving back, and I bought 3 Tom Waits CDs. I used to love Tom Waits because I had a 6-hour drive.
Right.
And after 4 hours, I stopped the car and I thought, God, I feel like I could slip my wrists. And then I thought, no wonder you're listening to this. He's a great singer and he writes some amazing songs. And I just changed the music.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
And so, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And Abraham Hicks talk about this, about how the music industry, how it affects us so much. And look, Adele is amazing. And look at the song that became her massive hit. It was Being Broken-Hearted.
Yeah.
And people, and it's the same with soaps. We tend to indulge in wallowing. And okay, if you want to do that, that's fine. But we have a choice.
Yeah.
I think music can be the fastest way to feel good.
Yeah, I don't know if you happened to catch Rebecca Eden at the Global Party, but she was saying, because she uses music to manifest and it's like a spiritual tool home. So her song, she's talked about manifesting her soulmate and another thing, but she talks about it being like a fast train. And I was like the speeding train in France. What do they call it? An IV or no?
I've been on it.
Yeah.
I think it's IVF.
That idea that music can take you there so much quicker, that the vibration, and that's in any particular venue. My youngest, when she was little, though, so she's almost 18, there would be I kept her off media, but she was so auditory on, this is where I really got present to the vibrations, I remember she was like 7, and do you know the movie Happy Feet with the penguin?
Oh, Happy Feet,
right?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, she's never at this point been to see a movie or anything. And I was like, do you want to maybe see this one, right? And just showing the trailer, she said, stop it. That is just not good. And for her, she just felt uncomfortable. And it was interesting because I'm thinking it's Happy Feet. But the whatever it was just a vibration for her. So everybody, it's different.
It is, yes.
Totally. And it's okay because you're in a different space. She now will play some songs that I would go like, come on, you're listening to that now? And she's like, but that gets me moving to clean up my room or to get organized or whatever. It's a moving song to get me to do things. So she uses it as that fast train to get her where she wants to go.
Yeah, and that's it. It's recognizing where you're at, because if you're really down, Adele may move you out of that into the next level. But it's being aware of where you're at and where you want to go.
And so, where do we get your top 10 shower songs?
Yes, I'm putting them on my website. Well, actually, let's be realistic. I'm putting them on my Facebook page, first of all. And I'm putting them on my website, which is rosaria.co.uk. Yes, I'd like to create a Facebook page for this. So, yes. Yeah. Maybe just call it Rosaria, haha.
That's good. I like that. Well, I look forward to our next conversation and your journey, because I think as we continue to share about how easy it can be and how much freedom there is when you're following your bliss, more and more people will tap in and tune in and say, yeah, I want that too.
Yes. Great.
Have a great time in the States.
I will.
And I want to hear all about Washington Square.
Yes. So I'm staying in Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown for when I first arrived, and then in Brooklyn with my daughter and her boyfriend. So
beautiful.
I'm so excited.
And I can't stand that, and I'm so jealous. And I think I like it. I'm so excited. See, and well, actually, I just want to close on that one because I was talking about the different types of personalities. So obviously, if they were very scientific and very methodical, we would have lost them on this broadcast. So they're not even going to catch this. But but I was doing in a seminar years ago, and we were talking about personality types. And so let's call it they do them in letters and colors. So let's say the interpersonals, they had us standing at 3:00, and we were all together, and we were standing. And at 9:00, we're all the very detail-oriented people, right? Very one, dot your I's and cross your T's. And so the instructors looked at us at 3:00 and said, all your interpersonal. She goes, so I'm going to tell you what your characteristics are and how to talk to you. And she put on the song immediately, like the song, just as she was saying that, came on, everybody dance now, and we're all dun, 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 and we're jumping around, dun, and she plays that for about 10 minutes, about whatever, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and she turns it off, and she turns to the detail-oriented people, and she says, you're saying, what the frig just happened? Because you're going, you didn't tell them anything. You said you're about to tell them, and then they start jumping around dancing. She goes, that's what they're like. They are present to, oh, music, okay, we're listening, because they followed the words of the song.
Yeah.
And it was the contrast that we each see things differently. We each have different blisses, and as long as we're enjoying the journey, it's all awesome.
Exactly.
I love you. Thank you for sharing this morning.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.